That's bright. So his little zinnia finally did start laying eggs. And I finally figured out what was going on with my birds in this strange, random difficulty getting around to laying eggs, and the whole thing is they all had a stomach infection. And how did I find that out? In one day, I had five nests with chicks in them, and in one day, well, the first one was Marble here, started plucking her babies. And when I say pluck, I mean she was nibbling the down off of them. I make a distinction. When a hen is nibbling down, not such a big deal. When she starts pulling out the flight feathers and stuff, then we have a problem. So she started it, and I was like, okay. So I know in the past I've had intestinal yeast problems, and that causes hens to pluck their chicks. But I just treated them for intestinal yeast, and when birds have intestinal yeast, they're thin, and she is not thin. She's actually kind of chunky right now. But she does have a bloated crop, and I thought, okay, I don't know, I just didn't know what to do. And then, so I left them, and then the next day I came in and there was blood. Not a lot. The chicks were not mutilated, but she was going there. So I pulled her 2 chicks. I put one up here with these 2, so they now have 4 chicks in the nest, which for me is a big no-no. But I have no place else to put the chick. And then I had another chick, and I was like, okay, these guys seem to be doing okay, but then when I checked their nest, their youngest chick had died in the nest. That never happens. So I'm like, okay, right there, I've got problems. So I pulled out the youngest chick that was dead, and I replaced her oldest chick, whom I had moved over to here. So she now has 3 of her own chicks, and I put Marble's second chick over here. So they still have 3 chicks. So I only have 1 nest with 4 chicks in it. But I was like, what is going on? And then the next day I come out, and I'm just really hesitate to give them medication that I know they just had. So I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. But the next day I came out, and every single one of the other hens had nibbled all the down off of all of their babies. So I was like, okay, I got to do something quick or else this is really going to go south. So I said, all right, maybe I give them antibiotics because I just treated them with the other stuff. So I gave them antibiotics, and boom, the nibbling of down stopped. You can tell because the chicks in 24 hours will grow the beginnings of new down, and you'll see little sprinkles of it. It looks like a little salting all over their little bodies. If it's not there, then the hen plucked it off, or nibbled it off, however she does it. If it is there, then she has stopped nibbling it off. So we can go around and look, and so I'm like, okay, they had a bacterial infection, they were not feeling good, and this is one of the things I've really found is hens that pluck their babies are not doing it because of some strange psychological malfunction. They're doing it because they have something wrong with their stomachs. And eating down, be it their own down, their partner's down, or their chick's down, soothes their hurting stomachs. So I thought it was just intestinal yeast, but now I know that it can be a bacterial infection too. Any kind of infection to the stomach, the first thing they do is start eating down. I've seen them pluck it off the bars. I've seen them pluck it off their mates. I've seen them pluck it off themselves. I have a cockatiel that pulled all the down off from underneath her wings, so she'd spread her wings to fly and had these 2 bright pink patches of bare skin. And they will pluck it off their babies. So, if you ever have plucking problems, what you have is a hen with an upset stomach. And I don't mean a little upset. They are sick unto death. I'm watching them. It's been 2 days. They're on their 3rd day of medication now. And so far, I still have chicks growing down. So, like, for instance, this girl's babies. See those little downy butts? They were bare naked 2 days ago. And this girl's chicks, little downy butts, bare naked 2 days ago. And this gal, this is Stella, was doing great. And then I walked in here and looked this morning, and she had nibbled them naked again. So you see how they have no down on their backs? She'd done it again. So I started her on, she's still on the antibiotics, but I started her on some antifungal medication, and I have added probiotics to everybody's food. The only hen I had that had chicks in the nest that hadn't plucked them was Lavender here. And when I came in yesterday, she had nibbled all the down off. So I started her on medication yesterday, and I see little tufts of down growing in on those butts. And that's what I want to see. You can see it's visibly there. So, so hopefully they'll be okay. So that's where my current batch of babies stands. The next wave has started. This is Bubba Jr. and Blanca. And they have 2 little babies in there. Okay, I'll close the door. These 2 have an egg in there that's getting ready to hatch any minute. They have only 1 fertile embryo. Blanca has a 3rd embryo in there, but it's very new. It's going to take weeks for it to, well, I don't know, weeks, but a while for it to finish maturing until it hatches. So I don't really know what to do, but I have foster eggs coming up big time because I'm not culling any nests at this point, and these 2 have 5 embryos. Every single egg is fertile, and these 2 have 6 embryos. Every single egg is fertile. So I'm going to have babies to distribute, and I'll have to redistribute her youngest baby as well. So these 2 blank nest. So I can put 3 chicks in there. And these 2 have a blank nest, so I could put 3 chicks in there. I am inclined to break these 2 up, so what I might do is give her 2 chicks, get her started on them, and then pull him and let her finish raising them on her own as a part of breaking them up, because they've been together enough, so I need to find out who's infertile and who isn't. So I have to split them and get them to latch on to other mates, and that's a way to do it, is to pull him when she's in the middle of raising babies. She'll think he died, basically, and finish raising the babies on her own. And I'll keep them in 2 separate flight cages, and they will never see each other. Because it's not easy to break a bond that's lasted this long. So, new baby's coming. This is going to hatch any time now. And the hatch date for this one is, let's see, Thursday. Oh, that's not too long away. And for this one is the following Monday. So, and I'll be redistributing eggs as soon as I have 3 chicks in each nest. When they've got 3 hatched out, I'll take the last 3 eggs and put them under somebody else. When they've got 3 hatched out, I'll take the last 2 eggs and put them under somebody else. And hopefully they'll be completely done with the medication by then, although Amtil does not seem to bother baby chicks. The other indicator that let me know that I was on the right track with the Amtil, which is an antibiotic, it's actually 2 antibiotics. It's a penicillin-based amoxicillin and Tylosin, which is a sulfa-based drug. The other thing that let me know that I was on the right track was her babies. This is Haverty and Erini. Erini is a huge bird, and Haverty is no slouch. And their babies were not growing properly. They were too small. And when that youngest one died, that never happens. I get a chick past 24 hours, I never see them die in the nest. So I knew something was really wrong here. And I gave them the antibiotics, and in 24 hours, those chicks doubled in size. They just grew like fiends. So yeah. But I have a bunch of birds that are predisposed to intestinal yeast infections, and antibiotics will cause that. So I'm watching them. Like I said, I've started her on the antifungal at the same time. I think I'm going to have to do the same with these 2, because the chicks in their nest are going kind of slowly, even though she stopped plucking them. And both she and he look kind of lean and tight, which is an indication of intestinal yeast. So I'll see how they look tomorrow, especially if she starts plucking those chicks again. I'll start her on the the anti-yeast medication on top of the antibiotics. But right now I just put her on probiotics in the hopes that that will help. And like I said, these two are now on the anti-yeast. He seems to be doing fine. He was looking pretty rough, but 24 hours of antibiotics straightened him out in no time. But she, like I said, did great for 2 days and all of a sudden started nibbling down again. So I think she's got a yeast infection from the antibiotics. And the other one that's very exciting is that my lacewing male and his little girl have, I think, 4 eggs in here now. And one of them has a thriving embryo in it. Oh, 5 eggs. One of them has a thriving embryo in it. The rest look kind of blank. I'm really kind of hoping I'll get at least one more, but if I only get one, I'll take one. And then I have the last wave. I did finally get an egg out of Sprite and Zinnia. I did finally get an egg out of Pewter and Lemony. And, of course, Razzle and Remington dropped me an egg exactly as they should within a few days of being put in here. So that's going to be the last cohort. They're still on fertility checks. I'm pretty certain he's proven, so I'm pretty certain that I'm going to get fertility out of them because all the cocks are proven and most of the hens are too. So they will be the very last ones. Their chicks aren't due to hatch out for, 10, 12 days, 14 days maybe. So they've got a long ways to go. When everybody else is already out in the flight cages, these 3 cages will still have birds in them. So, oh, well, actually, so will this one. Because they're a little bit ahead of the others. And if they end up with only 1 chick, I'll foster a few to them. So they'll be part of that cohort too. So that is the breeding update. We got naked babies growing down back in again. I've got adults that I'm watching like a hawk. And, you know, hopefully this is going to work out. How you doing, man? I am so glad you filled 5 eggs. You are the bomb. I need this feather that this bird has. See the head on him? He's a tiny little bird, but when it comes to these birds, no one's going to give you a champion bird to add to your breeding program. So you're either going to get good-sized birds or you're going to get birds with good feather, but you're never going to get a bird that has both. So this guy he has a nice big blow on the top of his head and a handsome mask, and I'm quite happy to have him. Old Sprite up here has really done me justice with a lot of his babies, and I'm glad he's having one more go. He's 4.5 years old, but he's acting like he's doing the job, so I do expect fertility here. And the lacewing male, I don't necessarily care if I get a lacewing or not, because I don't breed lacewings, but what I want is his big blow, the big poof on the top of his head. And I'm also very excited about these two. They're just a really nice pairing. I'm looking for some double factor chicks in there, and fingers crossed. I also have a mystery happening. This is Malachite and Lava. Malachite's a normal green male, light green, and Lava's a normal gray female. And I have 5 chicks out of them. 3 are in their nest, 1's over here, and 1's up here. And 3 out of those 5 chicks came out pure white. Now there's 3 different ways that I know of that you can get a pure white bird. One is if it's a double factor spangle, but neither Malachite nor Lava are spangles, so there's no way it's a double factor spangle. The second one is if it's albino. Now, Malachite is split to Texas clear body, which is related to the Enos, and often clear bodies will be crossed up to Eno. So I thought, okay, maybe his dad was a Texas clear body that was split to Eno, and Malachite got the albino instead of the clear body. So I went and pulled out chicks and looked at them. They all have black eyes, so they are not albinos. So I don't know why I have a bunch of white chicks out of these two. He is split to Texas clear body. She is split to... Okay, I don't know what she's split to, but she could be split to gray wing because both of her parents were. In fact, her full sister is Lavender up here, who is a violet gray wing. So she could be split to gray wing. She might not be. But Malachite here is a 3rd generation my bird. So I know what he looks like all the way back to his grandparents. And there is nothing there except for single factor spangles and a Texas clear body daddy. And I don't know where anything else would come from. So I don't know. It's going to be real interesting to see why it is I got these white chicks. Now, when I say they're pure white, their down is pure white and all of their visible, that's before their parents plucked it off of them. And their, what do you call it? Their primary pin feathers, primary tail feathers and primary flight feathers are in, and I can see that they are pure white. So maybe color's going to appear somewhere. I don't know, but it's a mystery. So that is the flight cage. We are waiting for, they have a late chick that's going to come in. It may be really late, like a week late, and I'll have to pull it and put it somewhere else because it has 2 big siblings already growing up in there. They have 1 chick coming. Likely these would be the ones I would foster that other chick to. And then I have this girl getting ready to blow up in a couple of days, and that girl a few days after that, and blank nests everywhere to put extra eggs into. So it sucks that I don't have enough fertility and such so that I don't have to cull. But on the other hand, culling sucks too, so I'm okay with not having to freeze a bunch of eggs. So, okay, that's it.